Let's read some Glitch in the Matrix stories, part 178. Haunted Town. Hi, Auntie Matrix. Hi. I wanted to share my story for a while now to see if anyone may know what I saw. I had submitted this story to another TikToker who tells creepy stories, but it never got featured. I'm hoping you'll share my story. Oh my god, I am! When my sister and I were young, we lived in Reno, Nevada when our parents divorced. Our mother moved to a very small town in Nevada called Tonopah. How do we pronounce that? We eventually moved out there with her as our father remarried and kind of took on our stepmother's children as his own. My mother was the night auditor at a hotel across the street from our apartment. Night auditor? What is that? This being the late night shift, so my older sister usually took advantage of mom not being home in the evenings and started having parties like every single night. Bad! You naughty little minx! We made friends pretty quickly because my sister was a social butterfly and lots of the kids who lived around us would attend the parties, particularly two girls who were also sisters that were the same age as Kimberly and I. Let's call them Liz and Doreen. Liz and Doreen had a weird thought that our apartment was haunted for some reason, even though the apartments were fairly new at the time. Just because something's new doesn't mean it's not haunted. You don't know what was there before. We all usually just laughed about it and tried to spook one another in a fun way. Little did I know that they would turn out to be right. Eventually, parents of the other kids around us were getting angry that their kids were out late at night at our house, so they snitched on my sister to our mom. My mom didn't really know what to do about it, so she sent her back to our dad's in Reno. This is when things really started to happen. Anytime I was alone, I felt as though I was being watched very strongly, even during the day. So I asked my mom if we could switch bedrooms. She agreed, but it didn't help at all. I started asking our friend Liz to hang out with me there because I didn't want to be alone. She agreed, but would often feel creeped out as well. One day we were hanging out on the front steps and we heard someone walking through the rocks that were in between each apartment unit. Closer to the steps was a small patch of grass with a few trees, but beyond that was tiny rocks. Lots of people used to cut through the rocks to go to someone else's apartment, so we fully expected to see someone, but when the person should have rounded the corner, no one was there. We did, however, see footsteps walking in the grass and fallen leaves on the ground, and they were headed right for us. We screamed and the footsteps picked up to a run. Whoa! You saw the footsteps running with it. So we ran to her apartment. By the way, those footsteps were right outside my and my mom's bedroom windows. I obviously started getting really afraid and told my mom about it. She believed me but didn't know what to do. One night I was home alone trying to get to sleep, but I couldn't because of the intense feeling of being watched. It was palpable. Eventually, I pulled the blanket over my head and I turned over, and that is when I felt the pressure of someone or something getting into the bed with me, but it didn't lay down. Instead, it felt like it was looming over me and it whispered to me, "Wake up," or "Kayla," my name. No. Obviously, I was freaked the fuck out, so I just pretended to be asleep, and eventually I did fall asleep. I don't understand how people say this, how the people just like, okay, yeah, how did you fall asleep? How did you fall asleep? After that, I usually slept on the couch, which was right by our front door, just in case I needed to get out of there quickly. I tried my best not to ever have to go into the bedrooms, but I did have to walk by them on my way to the kitchen. One day, I needed food or drink or something, so I was walking to the kitchen. I could totally feel something down the hall towards the bedrooms. I knew I shouldn't have looked, but I had to. I saw a tall, dark figure move quickly from my mom's bedroom into my bedroom. This thing looked like a nun or what? It looked like a nun or possibly a black KKK uniform. Oh, what it was wearing. But what the? When it moved, it didn't move its legs like a person. It just floated quickly from one room to the next. That was it for me. I started going with my mom to work every night. I would sleep at her feet under the desk because I was petrified of being at home. I often wonder what it was that I saw and why it all started as soon as my sister was sent away, because I'm telling you, there wasn't even an inkling of anything while she was with me. We eventually moved to a different apartment on the other side of town, and whatever it was didn't follow us. Thank God. But that isn't the only story I have about this creepy little town. It is extremely haunted and has even appeared on shows like Ghost Adventures for the Mizpah Hotel. I hope someone can tell me what figure it was that I saw. I can say the voice that whispered in my ear was female. Have a good one, Auntie Matrix. Thanks for listening to my... Thanks for sharing. I have never heard of something cloaked, I guess. I feel like the only thing I've heard of cloaked is like a Grim Reaper kind of situation. And that is very, very weird that it didn't start until your sister went away. Maybe nothing was happening before because she was having all these parties at night. So there was like, so many people there all the time. And then when she was gone, there was no parties, there was no people, and then that spirit or whatever the fuck it was decided to start coming out. I I can't even imagine hearing somebody like whisper my name. Oh my God, and to see that, no wonder you slept at your mom's literal feet.